Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poison in their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that role to the poor. Oh Lord, yeah. Time will tell on their power minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till judgment day comes, oh Lord, yeah. Now in darkness, world stops turning, ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power, hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling, on their knees the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh, and welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day out there. That was Sarah King, official, live with War Pigs. And a great song right there. I'm going to throw that link out in the chat if you want to go give her a follow. Great rendition of that song. My second favorite. Well, third favorite. The original, then Jason, then that one. But that was a great tune played right there. And Man, hope everybody is doing well tonight. We got Tammy coming on here in a little bit. I'm going to be talking about game theory. Some announcements for today. Tonight we have our after show Q&A. After show Q&A. Actually, let's get that rocking and rolling. So I can go in here and I'm just going to hit that button. You're going to see a scroll bar, and that's all of our sponsors, our links, but also how to get in on that Q&A. So it's really cool and it's really easy because we distribute it decentralized across all platforms. So if you are a premium subscriber on any of our channels, socialredpill.com, which is our private social platform, substack.com, or redpillproject.substack.com, X Premium, or locals here on Rumble, as well as I'm trying to figure out how to do it on locals, or not on locals, but on Rumble Premium. I'm trying to figure that out. I got to put up probably a premium window out there or video out there, but it's really hard to do. If there was like a chat bar, it'd be a lot easier. So still got to figure that out. But if you are on a Rumble subscriber, you can just email me. Email me redpills.tv, redpillstv at gmail.com, redpillstv@gmail.com. And if you are one of those guys at a Rumble that don't have one of these other premium subscriptions, hit me up and I'll send you that Zoom link for tonight. So let's just jump right into it. A lot of things happening today. Epstein. Oh yeah, Vod. This is, you got to love it. You know, what a great way to bring about complete disclosure. The Democrats came out and they voted against it. And all of a sudden the Republicans are dropping 20,000 documents. It's almost like this was planned in a certain context. And all that stuff about Donald Trump, oh, don't worry, we're going to talk about it because it's quite interesting. You got to understand there's dynamics that at play here. You know, when we hold that stuff for 10 years from 2015 to current date, there's contextual meaning of why Epstein and Wolf were having a conversation in 2015, and then it jumps to 2019 in follow-up emails. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, game theory part 3. Yesterday, we really didn't talk about game theory, but we did. We talked about it in the context of what was happening in the news and unfolding in the world. And what we're looking at is moves and counter moves. We're watching one of the greatest counterintelligence operations ever to be done in world history right before our eyes. Game theory defined. Game theory is the mathematical study of strategic interaction among rational decision makers. It's used to analyze how individuals, groups, or entities make choices that depend on the choices of others. The game can represent anything from market competition to a military standoff, political strategy, or even biological evolution. And so what we are talking about here is the military and the political and the economic, because what Donald Trump is doing is he is playing a game of 5D chess, which just happens to be tactically sound with game theory. And as we discuss this tonight, you're going to kind of see how this is all formulating. So you have a government shutdown. The Democrats hold back. They knew this was coming. Look at the boards. We knew this was coming. There's a countdown on the White House page. It goes to 0. Boom. Donald Trump at exactly midnight posts a video. Russ Vought, right? The Reaper going out there. And what did they find? Russ Vought of OMB goes out there and starts cutting massive amounts of Democrat-funded programs, because during the shutdown, the president has that authority to start slashing programs and never bring them back. They furloughed and fired tons of different people. They saved billions of dollars in the first few days. Number 2 is the American people get a taste of government efficiency, what government is like when the government shut down. It's actually more efficient because you get rid of all the middlemen. You get rid of all the fat in between. Number 3, healthcare. The reason why the Democrats held out for so long is because they want to preserve subsidies that are paid to health insurance companies. They say, well, we don't want Americans to lose health insurance. That's not what it was about. See, the money never goes to the people. The money goes directly to the health insurance companies. And since 2014, the beginning of the Affordable Care Act, over $1.3 trillion have been paid to these health insurance companies for uninsured Americans' health insurance, or illegal immigrant health insurance, or immigrative health insurance. Now, this is the key that you have to understand. The number was either 15 or 37. I don't remember. I want to say it was over 30%. 30% of the calculated amount of people that are projected in that program, because you got to remember, they don't use real numbers. They use fictitious numbers. 30% never claim those benefits, which means that 30% of that $1.3 trillion was all profit for the healthcare companies. So what's Donald Trump saying? Well, let's listen to his own words. And I know Tammy's going to have a lot to say about this when she gets in. So we're going to start off with it and then come back to it once Tammy comes in.
With the biggest increase of healthcare in any country, it's a disaster. And I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own health care, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases, 1,000% over a short period of time, because our country stupidly pays them so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you go out and you'll buy your own health insurance and you'll negotiate different plans and you'll get much better insurance, and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with healthcare. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved, and we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own healthcare, and we're going to forget this Obamacare madness. So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape.
Okay, so let's think about what Donald Trump was saying there, right? This money, hundreds of billions of dollars allocated to health insurance companies. He's saying, no. Let's give it to the American people. So instead of giving it to the healthcare companies, we're going to give it to the American people. Now, let me ask you this. How many Democrats out there that were pro-healthcare or all about healthcare would say no to that? How many liberals out there are going to say, wait, you mean the government's going to give me money for my HSA? Instead of giving it to the health insurance companies, which I probably will never use, instead they're going to give it to me and I can build it up in an HSA? Every American should be behind that. Well, I'm not really necessarily behind it because, well, it's kind of socialist medicine, but liberals will love that. And then he says, even Democrats are on board with this. That's game theory. He just put it out there. He just forced the Democrats' hands on health insurance, on funding the health insurance companies with subsidies. Instead, he flipped it. He said, let's give it to the people. The Democrats can't come out and say, no, we can't give it to the people. Then they're going to be asked, why? Because the people can't make their own decisions. Like black people in the middle of Georgia can't go out there and get a voter ID, but they can get a driver's license. That's the Democrats thinking, not mine. The liberal Americans aren't going to be able to go out there and purchase their own health care. They're not going to know where to start. Well, that's why we have the ACA marketplace specifically for that. That's pretty huge. I love Donald Trump. And this is what we're talking about in the perspective of game theory. Now, I've always told you this, that Donald Trump, he works magic, and he works magic behind the scenes. Okay. Now, one thing that to keep in the perspective, we like to humanize these people. We like to humanize Donald Trump and Elon Musk and these other billionaires. Don't. And the reason I say that is because psychologically, they are radically different than you and I. Okay. The level of which they operate at when they wake up in the morning in the context of the impact of their decision-making, the network and string of connections that they can do throughout the day, simply saying yes or no to questions, can produce hundreds of millions to billions of dollars of capital or loss. So they operate on a different level. And now to maintain that level of establishment, okay, to maintain that level of wealth and establishment, you need people, you need a network, you need an army, you need intelligence. And it doesn't start when you get in government. It starts well before the time you get in government. Trust me, they have former intelligence people in the CIA and various other three-letter agencies working for them when they were in private industry, corporate espionage. It's very, very real. So understand that Donald Trump is very well connected. And one of the methodologies that he uses to go out there and do this magic that he does is with other people. You go back to the primaries, the Republican primaries, right? In 2023, when he went against DeSantis, it was Ron DeSanctimonious, Ron DeSanctimonious. It was all bad Ron, Ron's corrupt, Ron's corrupt. Right after the primaries, when Donald Trump won, it's a handshake, and I'm even considering you for a position in my cabinet. And me and Ron DeSantis, we've been friends and we'll always be friends. Interesting. Excuse me. Another one, Steve Bannon. General Flynn leaves as the national security national security advisor to the president in 2017. And what does he do? He doubles down on Donald Trump throughout this whole time. We find that there is comms going on between General Flynn and Donald Trump, even when Donald Trump was president. Steve Bannon left the White House 2017. What does he do? He goes immediately to Jeffrey Epstein. 2 years later, Jeffrey Epstein is dead, quote unquote, died in prison of suicide. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We have Donald Trump calling out Tucker Carlson a few months ago. The day after, when all eyes are on Tucker Carlson, all the media is abound by, Donald Trump calling out Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump calling out Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has Ted Cruz on his podcast, which then becomes one of the most watched Tucker Carlson podcasts because everybody's eyes are on Tucker, hoping that him and Ted Cruz are going to talk something about Donald Trump. But instead, he opens up with a contradiction on Ted Cruz and shows that Ted Cruz doesn't even know the Bible, that he's completely oblivious to what's actually happening in Israel. Almost like Trump wanted people to see the optics of what your senators and your congressmen are like in the sense of what they know, the information that they have, or who they really align with. Tucker Carlson, he announced today he's releasing evidence tomorrow, providing the FBI is lying about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania by Thomas Crooks. Joe Rogan and Elon Musk pointed out the insane inconsistencies with the attempted assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The assassination house was professionally scrubbed. His home was scrubbed so well there wasn't even silverware left in the home. No footprint on the internet, no social media footprint, completely wiped. He was in a BlackRock commercial. Joe Rogan says some individual inside BlackRock may have recognized that it's beneficial to them that if he gets assassinated. If there's never a formal report, there was never a press conference where they detailed all the information they currently know. He was a very young kid with a rangefinder used to measure distances, very suspicious. CNN streamed it live, which Joe Rogan does not believe they did for any other rally. That the cameraman standing directly in front of Donald Trump from CNN, first time ever that he showed up to a Trump rally, was using a camera that collects 20,000 frames per second, which is atypical for those types of events. They're typically used in wartime scenarios. Something's going on here. Then the kids' cell phones. Something serious is going on here. And I think what we're about to see is a mass disclosure of more of this information. And you got to remember, at the end of the day, all of this stuff strings together. All of these points on the map are interconnected. And Donald Trump is utilizing economics, military might, and political power to organize it all into one grand conspiracy of disclosure. The Wiener laptop is back in the news. I mean, who could have said that this was going to happen? Today, Lindsay Halligan posted the evidence validating information pertaining to Hillary Clinton's laptop. You are both right and nailed the position I found myself. The team comes to me yesterday and says there are over 600,000 emails on Wiener's laptop, and they include 10 years of Huma Abedin's emails, including emails with HRC and metadata that shows from missing BlackBerry domain used for the first months of Secretary Clinton's tenure as state. Oh, that's interesting. What else we got on this? 600,000 Hillary emails on Wiener's laptop were 10 years on Huma Abedin's correspondence, including from missing BlackBerry domain. Hillary used her first months as Secretary of State, yet somehow We were expected to believe that none of it was sensitive or classified, that none of it was even remotely improper, and that storing it all on a child sex predator's laptop was somehow perfectly acceptable. And of course, we never got to see any of it ourselves. We were just told to trust James Comey. And this relates back to Lindsay Halligan's case that she's building on James Comey. Discovery of the Wiener laptop forcing Comey to publicly pretend that he reopened the Hillary email investigation was causing a big problem for Hillary 1 week before the election. Christopher Steele, we talked about that. Admiral Rogers paid him a visit. Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS, Hillary and Soros-sponsored black ops groups interfered in the election by running a fabricated Russia-cultivated Trump story 1 week before Election Day, extract from Fusion GPS book Crime in Progress. Unbelievable. Well, what else is going to be coming out? Because, we've been talking about this. Hillary Clinton Foundation is now under investigation again. We got Hillary Clinton's emails coming back up under investigation. We know that all of this stuff has no statute of limitations when we start to look at an ongoing criminal conspiracy. Well, I want you to listen to Admiral Ace Lyons here, who passed away soon after Donald Trump was elected president.
Now let me shift to Benghazi and Libya, where treason was committed. And here we got the pathological liar Hillary. What went on there? If you take nothing else away, understand we switched sides on the global war on terror. They knew they were funding Al-Qaeda militias, the Muslim Brotherhood controlled militias, and those rebels in Syria who morphed into ISIS. They provided them training, funding, and weapons. There's no question about it. Now, I can't cover everything in the little time left, but I want to take you, well, I'll say one thing. Benghazi never had to happen. Hillary, Gaddafi wanted to go into truce negotiations. He was ready to abdicate. 2 days of negotiations went on. My good friend Chuck Kubik, retired Rear Admiral, was conducting them with AFRICOM, Carter Ham. They were terminated after 2 days by somebody outside the Pentagon. You can figure out who that was. So what happened? Tens of thousands of people lost their lives. Here's a president who got the Nobel Peace Prize for giving a speech, yet he couldn't give a few more days for truce negotiations.
Very revealing. Now, why is that revealing? Because on Wiener's laptop was 600,000 emails of Hillary Clinton's correspondence. Connect the dots. Begin to see how this unravels. Understand who has that. No such agency has all these emails. Understand there's no statute of limitations on ongoing criminal conspiracy, that the Russiagate, FISA-gate was a coup attempt to take down Donald Trump in 2016 to cover up for the crimes of the Obama administration, to re-implement their 16-year plan and bring about a new world order. And it's ongoing even today. What do we got here? John Sullivan. Even more. I love it. New documents obtained by Just the News show that the Justice Department under Joe Biden was trying to use Jack Smith to thwart any investigation in the funding of the Steele dossier. Who cares, you ask? Well, it's now officially ties Jack Smith's investigation to the Russia collusion hoax, like pearl stringing, right? Now you begin to understand why FBI Director Kash Patel said he thought it was a grand conspiracy. that all these things to get Trump are connected, from Jack Smith, the lowest learner in 2024 in the IRS, to Russia collusion, to the Ukraine impeachment, to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the Jack Smith's investigation. And it turns out Jack Smith has a direct connection to Russian collusion now in these documents. See how that works? What else did we find out today? Eric Swalwell, Fang and Swalwell, has been referred to the DOJ for potential criminal charges after evidence of mortgage fraud was found on his FHFA, founded by Bill Pulte over there at FHFA. Well, isn't that interesting? Another one with mortgage fraud. Now, what's the mortgage fraud, you say? Well, they do multiple different primary residences. Why? Because you get tax advantage savings when you sell one of those residences. If you have a second home, then it doesn't matter how long you hold that home. Anything that you make off of it when you sell it is capital gains. But if you have two primary homes and one of them is you're renting out, or one of them that you sell after 2 years, it's tax-free. And so what was happening with these Democrats, or what was happening with these people in Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, California? Well, they were going out there and buying a home, holding it for 2 years, and maybe it's a $500,000 home, and then they would put it on the market and they would get an offer for $3 million to buy that home, cash, and they would take the $3 million and they would sell the home, and it would be done kind of off the books. And Goldman Sachs was one of the title and title companies that worked with this. It just so happens that 2 months ago, an active shooter walks into the Goldman Sachs, or walks into the building in New York City, goes up to the floor of Goldman Sachs. He was actually heading to the NFL floor, and goes in there and shoots the executive that actually handles all titles and deeds for all of Goldman Sachs. I mean, it's just nuts how this works. But why? Who was buying these houses? Well, it's NGOs and it's cartel money. It's narco politicians. This is why Donald Trump has the meme out there with Hakeem Jeffries with the sombrero. Why is he wearing a sombrero? He's showing who owns him, the cartels. Trust me, more is going to come out about all this. Now, I do have some Epstein stuff to talk about, but I'm going to bring Tammy in. I know she's waiting patiently over there, and she's like, Josh, I want to get in on this conversation.
Josh, I'm so mad. I mean, I think I've hit my BS bucket. It's full. Mm-hmm. Everything is fake. Everything is fake. I am convinced everything is fake. Everything is astroturfed.
Fake and gay.
Fake and gay. That's right.
G-H-E-Y.
It is. It is. It is just... like just what you described there, the whole mortgage thing. Like, here we have, the average age of a homeowner now, the median age who's buying a house is 59 years old. That is incredibly scary. Jason and I bought our first house when we were 25.
Bought mine at 29.
Yeah. It's like 59. You know what that means? It means that 59-year-olds are actually selling their house and they're buying something else.
Cheaper,
yeah,
downgrading.
Yeah,
usually kids are out of the house, and so they're downgrading.
Yeah,
and it's typically condos. It's not necessarily houses. It's something with, where they don't have to do the maintenance and stuff.
Exactly, maybe even more decadent, with nicer finishings or whatever, but smaller square footage and in a different location because they're not wanting to be in the suburbs anymore with no kids. Blah blah blah. But the point is, here, I got a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old. That are just starting their lives. You've got little kids that will be starting their lives in 5-7 years. And is this what we want for our kids? To not be able to afford? I mean, the corporate gangsters are they've pushed it way too far. They have pushed it way too far.
But it's being exposed. So do you know who Michael Burry is? Michael Burry?
From The Big Short.
Yes, from the movie The Big Short, right? So he's been shorting the market, and nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
So today, he closed down his hedge fund. He came out there, cashed out all the money, sent a letter to his investor, said, I'm sending your money back. I'm done. And the reason he said he's done is because apparently I don't understand mathematics of this market well enough to be in here operating a hedge fund. What he's trying to say is that the market is no longer operating by traditional means. It is so manipulated beyond anything you could ever imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so right now on Trump's radar right? And we're seeing this exposure. And I did this in the beginning of my show before you came in, but I said, we're going to come back full circle on this one. Affordable Care Act, ACA, the shutdown. So the shutdown. So did you hear why the Democrats actually shut down the government?
Well, it's because of healthcare. They wanted to be able to give free healthcare to immigrants.
Nope.
That's not
so
why.
Hold on. That's what they said.
Okay.
But under the Affordable Care Act, the federal government actually pays subsidies.
Oh, yeah.
To
insurance
large
companies.
health insurance companies.
Yes.
They started them in COVID, but it never ended. So since 2021, they've been paying over since 2021, they paid over $1.3 trillion worth of subsidies to the healthcare and companies since COVID. Okay. And these healthcare subsidies were meant to give reduced reduction rates to illegal immigrants and to immigrants coming into the country, of which I think it's either 15 or 30% are never used, which means it's just pure profit. So this comes out right at the end, and Trump comes out and says, and this is why tonight's episode is game theory. Trump comes out and says is that he basically goes, fuck these insurance companies.
Yeah.
We're not giving you money. We're going to take that same money. We're going to give it to the American people. We're going to give it right back to the American people, and they can go put it into an HSA, after-tax money, let it gain interest, and they can utilize it directly for their health insurance.
Is this the $2,000 he's talking about?
No,
that's different.
No, that's different. This is saying that right now we're giving, I think, about $300 to $400 billion a year to health insurance companies for these subsidies.
Yeah.
What Donald Trump's saying is, I'm just going to give that to the American people. I'll just give that to the American people. We'll deposit into a nice HSA for them, and everything will be good. Now, let me ask you this. How many Democrat people, how many illegal immigrants, how many of these people out there in the world that vote left are going to say no to that?
Yeah. Well, they're not.
Donald Trump's going to give me money?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's game theory. He just played the Democrats, and they had no clue. And they just lost that battle to the point where now when legislation comes about on this, they have to play the game.
Yeah. Why do we have to entice people with things that aren't natural in terms of free market, though? You know what I'm saying? Over here we're going to give you money. Oh, over here we're going to give you money. Like there is no free lunch.
Tinstoffel.
Yeah, well, there's no free lunch. It's like
there is no such thing as a free lunch. It's an acronym. Tim Stoffel.
Okay.
I learned that from my college
never
professor
heard that
who was
one.
an economic advisor to Bill Clinton.
Yeah. I just think there is no free lunch. And when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn that slow and steady kind of wins the race? Do the right thing, invest in your country, don't buy products from people who are corporate gangsters, do the work. Everybody's going to run over here because Trump's going to give us money. Oh, great. Okay. Well, what about these health insurance companies? What are we going to do with these people? I covered them today on my show, and it was an ex-employee that revealed just exactly what happens when she was trained by a top healthcare company. And dare I say their name, Josh? I can't say their name because they have informed everybody that if you speak poorly about them on the internet, they will sue you. Okay? So
I know all about that.
Yeah, mafia. This is mafia style type corporatism. That's what we're living in.
Talking shit about me right now on the internet. Fucking haters.
I got haters too.
I have listen. I'll say a little sidebar here because some people know kind of what's going on, some people don't. And there's some people saying some very, very false claims, and the claims are pretty bad. And I have all the receipts. And let's just say that I had the last laugh. I don't know what else to tell people.
Yeah,
got to have your ducks in the row.
Yeah.
Right. But anyways, with that, you're absolutely right. It's and so here's my thought on this. You talked about the $2,000. I call this, Donald Trump is calling this a dividend.
Yes.
You know why it's a dividend? So if you look at the actual tariff,
I was going to say from the tariffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So thing is that when you look at how tariff revenue comes in, it's a consumption tax. So it's pawned off on the American people and the rich, the wealthy, and the poor, right? So when you look at it, is the wealthy are going to pay 3 to 4 times more in that tariff tax than the average American. Okay? So your average American ends up spending about $800 a year with these tariffs for a consumption tax.
Oh, okay.
Well, Donald Trump's giving you $2,000. What does that mean? That you're getting that tax money back plus $1,200 in profit. That's a dividend. And that's why he's calling it a dividend. But he's modeling how the new economy is going to work. And the reason I say the new economy is because everything that I see Donald Trump doing is that he's making a deal, but he's including the American people in it.
Yeah.
Hey, Intel, I don't like you. Get out of my country. They're like, well, how do we make a deal? He goes, well, give me 10% of your corporation. Sure, here you go. The United States of America now owns 10%. Great. I'm going to throw that into the sovereign wealth fund. So now every quarter that Intel goes out there and has an earnings call, the American people are going to get 10% of those dividends, and they're going to get it distributed as dividend checks. And then you have tariff revenue dividend checks. And then you're going to have sovereign wealth fund dividend checks. Then you're going to have royalties from the land leases that are coming on. And eventually this all builds up, because what we have coming, you and I both know in the context of automation, is a massive decrease in the amount of jobs, right? So is UBI the answer? Like where government uses tax revenue to give to the people? No, that's fucking socialism. I don't want that. What I'd rather have is a royalty program to where my country is looking after all of us and putting money from the revenue that's being generated in this country by the displacement of jobs means more revenue for that company, which means higher earnings. And if the people of the United States of America own 5 or 10 or 15% of that company, whether it's through the sovereign wealth fund or through its royalty deals or land lease deals for the energy that went in that produced them, then we get that back, and we get that back continuously. It's not just a one-time thing. We get that every quarter. And eventually what you're going to find out is the American people will be making $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year from this, because look at Saudi Arabia. It's the same type of model, but our amount of assets that we have is
What am I going to have to do to get my money, though, Josh? What am I going to have to do to get my royalties? Am I going to have to take mRNA injections? Am I going to have to, make sure that I take this health intervention or do that? Or like, what am I going to have to do? Because I'm not stupid. I mean, more government is more problems. And so why don't you just cut the frickin' regulation down? Because right now, the whole system is set up so that you actually have to put your corporate leader, your CEO, into a political position so that they can negotiate legislation. That's what's happened in Canada, right? So Mark Carney, he's full climate cultist, right? All his products, all his investments, all in the climate sector, right? That's why they put him in, because they're doing land grabs. I mean, it is just crazy over there.
But that's Canada.
I understand, but it's government, Josh. And whether it's Trump in the office in 36 months or whatever he's got left, it's going to be somebody else. They're not going to give you free money in your bank account. Boom. I wish they were, but you're dealing with gangsters here. This is the corporation of America. I don't think they're going to give us money without us making us do things.
Well, number one is they make us give them money without them doing things.
Yes, they
tax
do.
money, Social Security.
Yeah.
And well, so what I would like you to see is that the movements of Donald Trump over the last 11 months have been moved towards this, are pointing directly towards what I'm saying.
I agree.
And this $2,000 dividend check is exactly that. Now, do I agree with you that, hey, in 3 years when Donald Trump is no longer in office, does it change? What happens when we get a Democrat in office? What happens when, Marco Rubio or JD Vance becomes president, or whoever the next president? I agree. But here's the thing, this is why we have to fortify this through a constitutional amendment. We have to develop the sovereign wealth fund as a trust fund directly for the American people that Congress cannot touch. Congress has no ability to take. And the way that I've learned what they're going to do with this is that the sovereign wealth fund generates all the profits, revenues, royalties that the United States of America brings about. I heard that there's going to be a royalty tax on patents. So anything that the patent office actually holds, that they're going to issue like a 1 or 2% royalty charge on that. And that'll go into the sovereign wealth fund. But then that money is meant to replace the federal income tax. Is that eventually that money will replace the federal income tax, and that we will fund government through the profits derived through that sovereign wealth fund.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the year, whatever's left over gets distributed in dividends to the American people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, other countries already do this. Norway does this. Alaska already does this. There's a Native American trust fund here in the United States of America. You got UAE, United Arab Emirates, where they all drive around in Lambos. You have Saudi Arabia, where they all drive around in Lambos. Venezuela used to be like this until they went communist. So it is happening right now. There is a precedent for it. And it does work in other countries with way less freedom than we have. Now, does that mean that in UAE that you have to go register with a digital ID and that you have to do facial recognition scans or that you have to submit to the vaccine when they give you? I don't know. I don't live in that country.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that that's what's going to happen here? I honestly don't think so, because we have people like Bobby Kennedy that are ensuring that these types of things do not happen. We have people like Donald Trump that are looking out for the little man. That are trying to set the policy right now to where this cannot happen. I mean, you had the Clarity and the Genius Act that passed in Congress, signed in power by Donald Trump, that basically said there will be no central bank digital currency through the Federal Reserve or ever, unless there is congressional approval, 2/3 majority. And then even if it does happen, it'll never be programmable. Well, that's perfect. But then I said, watch out for privatized digital currencies. And funny, the last few years I've been talking about JPM coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
JP Morgan coin.
Yep.
And we've talked about this a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what JP Morgan released yesterday?
No, I didn't.
JPM coin.
Yeah. I'm not buying
just
it.
like I've been saying.
Here's what I see. Okay. So I just think these corporations are so big and so powerful now, Josh. And I think that the legal system has been weaponized. I think the minute somebody steps out of line, we're going to sue them, and then everything locks up. This is why, like 2 weeks ago now, Bobby Kennedy came out, or no, last week. It was just last week. He came out and said, Ozempic's a great tool for the American people. It's a great tool. Dude, I've been following Bobby Kennedy for a decade or more, and when Ozempic came out, he was all over it, telling people this isn't the answer. This is it's got some real serious issues. And now he's promoting it. Well, he's promoting it. And trust me, I believe in Bobby Kennedy. I really am a promoter of him. But that's how locked up the system is. And the answer to this is taking back your power. I feel like they are in business deals constantly. They're negotiating. So what did they do? They negotiated that Medicare and Medicaid would now have access to Ozempic and to Wegovy. Okay, that opens up, right? Plug and play customers, because these people don't pay for their health insurance. So they take what they're given. So that opens up a whole new clientele on our dollar, on the taxpayer dollar. In exchange for that, what they did was they said, okay, we're going to give you access to Medicare and Medicaid for Ozempic and Wegovy. You lower the prices of pharmaceuticals across the board. Okay. So that was the deal. Handshake. Okay, great. So the only way this works is if the American people take back their own sovereignty and their own personal responsibility, though. You've got to take back your own personal responsibility. They are not going to solve your problems for you. So do I think the digital ID will be rolled out in America? Absolutely. Absolutely will.
It already is.
And he's working with Peter Thiel. I'm telling you, it's all about business. And I'm glad Trump's in office. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not saying that. I'm just reality check here. He's a businessman.
I have
a business.
I completely understand and agree with you. And this is what I've said since the get-go. Number one is he is making changes, and he's keeping the American people in a front line of those changes when we're looking at this. People remember when he started with the tariffs, people were like, oh no, it's a tax on the people. Yeah. How dare he? Damn it. But now everybody's getting that money back plus money on a dividend.
Yeah.
Then it's like, well, wait, that worked. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, you said that this is corporations, and the corporations have come too powerful. But here's the thing. It's only government-mandated corporations that have come powerful. Mm-hmm. It is only the military-industrial complex. It only is the big insurance companies. It's only the companies that are associated with government mandates that become incredibly powerful and too big to fail. And I 100% agree with you that is a monopoly, and that needs to be decentralized. Now, in the sense of this, and the Trump administration, what they're doing, Pete Hegseth announced yesterday that they are doing a thorough review of all of the defense contractors working within the military industrial complex, and that he is sad to say, but many of them will be going away and new ones will be coming in, and that they're generating a program to allow new businesses and corporations to be coming in to be defense contractors. But he said, this is what he said. He goes, we much rather have a very tight-knit small group of contractors that revolve in and out working with us, other than a big behemoth of an organization that we're allocating hundreds of billions of dollars to each year. Yeah. In other words, he's dismantling the military industrial complex. Now, does this mean that he's dismantling it, or he's centralizing it to Peter Thiel and Musk and these other guys? I haven't seen the fruits of that labor yet.
Yeah.
Right. But Donald Trump's attack right now on the large health insurance companies, I think that that's a good sign. I think that that is a great sign.
Sure.
You just had JP Morgan indicted like 2 days ago. I don't remember what it was about. Maybe it was Jeffrey Epstein stuff again, but what we are seeing is actual progress, because here's the thing. Under Biden, we didn't have any of this. Under Biden, we didn't have somebody who went out there and worked for us, who tried to incorporate us into the deals. And it might not be perfect. It might not be ideal. It might not be complete and absolute sovereignty of which you and I and everybody else desires, but it's a start. It's a start. It's a place to where we can begin.
Yeah, I agree.
Begin to take our freedoms back.
I agree. It's a start. I think the point I'm trying to make is that so many people are not aware of how corrupt everything is. And so they're mad at Bobby. He hasn't done enough. Like, he could just go in there and pull everything and change everything. They're mad at Trump because he hasn't done this. And we have to understand that government was never designed to reel itself in. If it's going to get in bed with a corporation and that's going to be for the growth of it, it's going to. It's not designed to reel itself in. It's designed to grow. I was talking about this today on my show. Like, how many millions of workers do we have working for the federal government? Why do we have so many damn employees here, right? They are the most inefficient people. Right? We're looking at 2.9 million civilian workers as of August 2025. 5.1 million in 2022 were uniformed military personnel and government enterprise workers. I don't think we know what capacity these millions of people are working for the federal government. In what capacity? This is the concealment that I don't like, especially in media. I think there are many, many media faces that people know, like, and trust that actually are federal employees. And that's the type of thing that, if we're going to clean house here, instead of sweeping up behind everything and just being like, well, we're doing the best we can, we're making little backdoor deals, out with it. Let's come out with it. Out with it already. We know the suspicion is there. It might not even be as bad as people think, but they're making it look that bad because they're constantly hiding everything. Come out and say, Bobby Kennedy, come out and say, I myself don't like Ozempic. It's not for me. But here's the deal we made.
He can't because of the Trump administration, because of Susie Wiles.
Well, screw her.
She needs to be fired. I agree.
This is ridiculous. We need transparency. Nobody believes you. Everybody's questioning everything right now. The best possible thing you can do is let people speak. Stop trying to shut everybody up and just be truthful. Just be truthful. We're doing it this way because we have these contracts. We're locked into this. We are in partnership with this private company, even though we're the government. We're in partnership with them. We have to uphold this deal. Here's how we're negotiating it and why. We don't personally recommend Ozempic. We don't want to be your gold standard of advice when it comes to health. You need to make your own critical decisions. Be an adult. This is what's the problem with being a nanny state, because everybody doesn't even know how to function as an adult anymore. Oh, well, just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. Tell me. No, make your own decision. Otherwise, we aren't going to have the right to make our own decisions anymore. Like, get it together.
Yeah, well, you nailed it there with Bobby Kennedy, though. You said he's under contract. The
Yes.
HHS is under contract with these people. So guess what that contract says? Is you can't badmouth Ozempic. You can't say bad things about it. So that's why he goes out there and says, we're making a partnership, a deal with Ozempic, and this is how it's going to be. But that's politics. That's how politicians operate. This is why we see the bullshit that happens.
But this is this is the end of the left-right paradigm, Josh. This is the end of the left-right paradigm. People have had it. Look at the comments. I mean, listen, just before I came on here, okay, the FBI retweeted Tucker's statement. Tucker said, the FBI told us, like you were talking about, I think you were talking about this, the assassin for Trump, right? We never said that his apartment was scrubbed or didn't have any evidence. And we never said that. And then, Glenn Greenwald pulls it up. This is where you said it. Like, why are you guys lying? We are not living in an age where you can get away with anything. Stop it. You're making yourselves look like, holy crap. Are you this incompetent or are you this much of a liar? Because either way, this is terrible. Right? This is terrible. This is not like, we can't count on your FBI. Do you feel safe with your FBI? Do you feel like if something happened to you or your family, a real crime, that if the FBI pulled up, it would get solved for you? Because I sure as hell don't.
I disagree with that.
No. Yeah. And then, this week I also covered a gal named Lauren Southern, who she is in Canada. But do you know who she is? Lauren Southern?
No.
She was a political pundit. She's a really cute girl, blonde, and she was making really good headway as a conservative because there aren't too many conservatives, especially in Canada, that, look like her and talk like her. So she was doing really well for a while, and then she got a big smear. Right? She got wrapped up in like some Russian propaganda stuff. And so that was a whole thing. But anyway, she put out a video this week and it was very, very good because it explained exactly how people are getting paid to influence and whatnot. Right. And so she described how she said, so she was on a no-fly zone, like she couldn't go into America. Could not go into America. She was on a do not enter America, like stoppage. She was not allowed to come across the border until she made a relationship with someone in the administration. And then all it was a phone call. She just called that person and said, yeah, I can't get into the US. Boom. She's in the US. Mm-hmm. This makes it look like a complete circus, people. You don't want the people to know this about you. Don't do this because all that does is create, more distrust. People are like, oh, I see how it works here because the middle class is evaporating. We're going to have, the super poor and we're going to have the uber rich, and the uber rich are going to be able to fly private and
Not
do
even
whatever.
Uber rich. I mean, beyond anything you can ever imagine on richness. Like right now, millionaires are going to be middle class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're putting in a development, unfortunately, a few miles down the road from us because we're out in the country. And their whole thing is this is affordable housing. Oh, we're putting in 1,000 new houses for affordable housing. You know what the price of the houses are? Oh,
$600,000.
A little under. Mid 500s.
Mm-hmm.
Mid 500s. That's affordable. In Colorado, in a rinky-dink little town, it's not a gorgeous town, this little town, few miles.
And they're probably only 2,200 square foot houses.
Yes. And the builder that's making those houses, terrible reputation. Leaky roofs, like the whole thing. And that's affordable housing. Like everything is manipulated. They're not making affordable housing. They're trying to get whatever benefit they can and get agreement for the building of that subdivision so they can do it and make money. That is not affordable housing. In what land is that affordable housing? I'm talking about a little podunk farm town, that is like, we're 45 minutes from Denver. And there ain't nothing there.
Time to move.
Yeah.
Minnesota's calling.
Like, it's ridiculous what everything's a lie. Like I said, everything is fake and gay. Everything is fake and gay.
I just had this conversation yesterday when I was bitching about the healthcare.
Yeah.
Right. And we were talking about my friend Sam and what she has going on. I mean, it's just her and her daughter, and her health insurance is going up.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, you got to remember how ACA works is that they allow the states to regulate the ACA marketplace. So the states go in there and they mandate that if you buy from this marketplace, you must have these things on your health insurance. So now she let's just assume. So, I mean, these were kind of the numbers. I don't remember necessarily. So she has $3,000 a month premium, which her employer pays half of that. So it's $1,500 a month that she pays out of pocket. A $3,000 deductible, and it's going up. It's going up to $3,800 a month. So now she has to pay double. She has to pay $200 more a month for two people, her and her daughter. And then she's got a $6,200 deductible.
Wow.
And I said, this is absurd. I said, this makes no sense. I mean, last year she paid like $5,000 in medical care costs out of her pocket. And that would have been pre-deductible.
Yes.
So what's the point of the insurance?
Bingo. You know what the point is, though? You know the thing that holds the whole ball of wax together? Fear. You got to have it because you'll go bankrupt if you don't have it. Here's some news for you.
It's federally mandated you have to have it.
Here's the news flash for you. If you have the option to opt out, a lot of people don't because they fear they'll go bankrupt. Here's the news. You're going to go bankrupt anyway. I covered a story today of a lady who, like I was going to tell you earlier, she worked for the big healthcare company. She said they got coached for 3 months on how to deny claims. 3 months, all the different legal ways they can deny claims. She had one policyholder whose husband died of pancreatic cancer. Okay, they denied the claim. It was a hospice claim. He was dying. Okay, they wouldn't pay the claim out, and they've already garnished her wages for the payment of it, and they're taking her to court to sue her over it. This is and so like this is how they operate. This is how they operate. They are out to not pay claims. So you're paying them through your freaking tax dollars too. They're getting like a 30% subsidy at this point. And you're paying your premiums. And then they're canceling your claims. And then they're giving you, co-pays. They're making co-pays. And not on top of that, you've got a deductible. Like somebody else I covered on my show is like $48,000 a year they would have to pay out $48,000 a year to even access coverage. Wow. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
100%. You talked about it a few months ago on the show. You talked about the middleman and how the system is corrupt and how these big health insurance companies go out in there and they buy up all of the doctors' offices. That's right. They buy up all of the chiropractors. And so that way that they can control the cost and control the price.
That's right.
And that gives them more back-end tax dollars and subsidies from the federal government. And then they can charge higher premiums for the people, of which everybody's getting screwed but them.
That's right.
And, I'm sick of that system and it needs to go. And I agree with you 100%. It needs to go. And I hope that that's the move that Donald Trump is making with what he's saying, and that Republicans, if they do produce a bill, that it is something that actually is beneficial to the American people.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need health freedom. We need to be able to choose our care. We should be able to have access to acupuncture. We should be able to have access to massage, preventative care. A lot of this stuff, like nutritionists, they do. If you are coached on insulin resistance, you're never going to get diabetes. Your physician will never coach you on insulin resistance. They don't even know what it is. They don't have a test for it. They don't know how to order the test for it. Like, they're clueless. They know how to prescribe you diabetes medication when you get there. They'll tell you, oh, you're pre-diabetes, you're pre-diabetic, you're pre-diabetic. Oh, now you're diabetic. Okay, here's your metformin. Like, it's just ridiculous. You're just like, and nobody knows how to, well, we don't know how to do it. Eat low fat and eat light and restrict your calories. No, that's like the worst thing you can do. Eat meat, eat protein, eat fat, eat in a fasting window, cut the sugar, cut the carbohydrates. Lift weights, You know, like there's some very easy foundational things that you can do. You don't got to be a bodybuilder. You don't got to be perfect, but you got to understand how your body works. And nobody is teaching that. They're waiting. It's so predatory. They want you in the system. The system equals money for them. So I'm like,
talking about money. So let me, I'm going to read this real quick ad for crypto.com and we'll be right back in. I just got to do this real quick, guys. I know you love me. I know everybody loves cryptocurrencies. So
got to pay the bills.
We're going to read this. That's right. Got to pay the bills. Can't do this without it. All right, let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here, and this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi, staking rewards, and real-world perks like cashback on your spends, to launch America's first CRO treasury. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest. Want in on the action? Head to crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. And for everybody out there, if you are interested in that, you got to head on over to Rumble, and you're going to see it at the top of the chat. You'll see it at the bottom of the description. And continue. Now we go on. But, you know, in the aspect of corporatism, you know, I want to go back a little bit. I want to go back to what you said, digital ID, because I've been talking about this for a long time. You've been talking about this for a long time. And I warned about it in a different context. And I said that this is what's going to happen. But when it does happen, it's going to be up to us to mitigate how bad it gets or how good it becomes. And so number one is I just talked to you about JPM coin.
Yeah.
So I use this as an example. I was just making this shit up. I never heard of JPM coin before in my life, JP Morgan Chase coin. But I was saying, if you go back to the 2022 Unified Ledger Framework from the Bank of International Settlements, they talk about CBDCs in the middle. They talk about privatized cryptocurrencies on the side, and then financial institution blockchains. And I said, well, JP Morgan's a financial institution. They're going to have a privatized cryptocurrency. They're going to have JPM coin, right? So I just made that shit up. Yeah. But yesterday it actually came out, and I said, okay, well, this is the first actually indication that I'm right of what they're going to do. And so what they'll do is they'll issue, let's say they'll come out there and they'll say, hey, we got JPM coin and you got a direct deposit coming in every month. Why don't you just take your direct deposit, buy JPM coin? Mm-hmm. And then what we're going to do is we're going to offer you, instead of 14% personal loans, you're going to get a 7% personal loan. Instead of 6% mortgages, you're going to get a 2% mortgage. And people will go in there and all they have to do is mitigate their money directly into JPM coins. They say, well, how do I buy my groceries? Well, that's actually accepted at all of these grocery stores. Mm-hmm. This is how this will work. Now, yesterday as well, Apple announced that you can now add passports directly to your iPhone wallet of what they're calling their digital ID infrastructure.
Oh my gosh.
Now people out there are like, oh my God, digital ID. But I said, well, hold on. I said, hold on a second here, because I want people to understand what we're really talking about. A digital ID is government issued versus private corporation. Are two completely different things. Number one, this thing already knows everything about you. It already has all of your personal text messages, all of your personal emails, has all your financial and banking information. It has all of your identification, all of your passwords. It has all of everything that you've ever said on the internet and text message is right here. This thing knows more about you than the US government, than the FBI during freaking J6, okay? This thing right here is already a digital ID. I think we all understand that.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. The moment the federal government mandates that I have to have this digital ID and that they're going to regulate and create the framework of how it's operated and that records have to be shared with the federal government, that's where I cross the line. That's where I say, that ain't happening. 3%er, lock and load, not going to happen, right? Because that's that step of boundary. That's that one moment where we go from a competitive landscape of commercial industry, of different companies who are trying to compete in a landscape versus government mandated and dictated, what we're talking about with the insurance companies, what we're talking about with the military industrial complex. Because when you go that route, what occurs? Control.
Yeah.
Massive monetization.
Right. But Josh, if your dividends are on there, if your dividends are waiting for you through your digital passport, right? This is what my concern is. It's like they're baiting the trap with cheese. Oh, we're going to have dividends here. We're going to have this. But you know what? We have so many immigrants here and so much digital fraud. I just covered a story about India. They have the whole digital thing going already. They do the currency, and in order to be able to get your food rations and stuff, it's all through the digital ID. And they had a bunch of hackers that actually came in and stole because they were doing retina scans and fingerprints. And so they lifted it somehow. And so people were going to pick up their food rations and whatnot, and it was being denied. It had already been picked up. So there was like thousands of people that couldn't get their rations. And so you always look over there, because that's where they're going to start it, right? They always do that. They always start it in foreign lands. They roll it out over there, get all the bugs, as many bugs as they can out of it, and then they bring it here. And my concern is they're going to be like, you know what? We have this immigration problem, and we have a theft problem, and we need to know what kind of American you are. So only the real Americans get this dividend. You have to have been born here. You have to have been a real American. And so you have to sign in to your digital passport. And this is how, that's what I think is going. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Trump is going to save it on this. I think he sees the fact that China's already doing it. He sees the fact that it's already there. Like, this is going this way. And
you just did it. You just announced it last week.
Yeah, you got to have employment. You got to have it for employment. Like, it's going this way. I'm not saying we're going to be able to stop it. I don't think we are going to be able to stop it.
I don't think we are either.
It's going to come down to a personal decision, what it means to you. So how far are you willing to go until it crosses the line? And everybody's going to have a different line that it crosses. For some people, this may look like the mark. This may look like the mark. The phone is going away. Elon has already discussed that the node, right? It's going to be like an AI node, essentially, that you just carry around with you, and it'll just, open up so that you can see. So the phone is going away. So where do you think that technology is going to go? I mean, we have these people telling us this is the biological revolution. You walk into a room, you think the light on, you think your oven on, you think you don't have to do anything. It's just all thinkable. How is it going to be thinkable? Because you are going to be you're the antenna, babe. It's all you. You're the one that's gonna be conducting all the things, because it's actually in your biology. Now, listen, I don't have any judgment on it. I do for my own personal self.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, for my own personal self. For my own personal self, I do. It's not for me. I don't want the biological stuff. It's not for me. I'm working on my actual natural human body. I want to see how far I can take it. I'm trying to tap into my higher consciousness. I'm trying to work on my physical health, because I want to see what this thing is actually capable of, because I don't think we know. I don't think we're even close to what we're capable of. And I do view AI as an opportunity for people to start exploring their higher consciousness, because it's going to be testing us. I mean, we have people talking about the fact that in 5 years, people they won't be able to read, because AI is going to be doing all your reading and writing for you.
But see, I think we had this discussion before, but it goes right back into it. Number one is, this is Pandora's box.
Yes.
It's been open. There is no putting it back in.
Right.
Okay. So with AI in the context that you're talking about, it's a tool. It is simply a tool.
Sure.
You can use it to make your life easier, to do your tasks, the work for you, or whatever it might be. And think about this: is once Optimus comes out with Grok installed in it, this thing's going to go around your house and it's going to read to you. Right? It's going to read to you. You don't even have to pick up the book anymore. It just downloads it and starts reading you the book. And then when you want to switch books, you can switch books when you get bored. So we have this thing that's a tool, and you can use it to benefit yourself and increase your knowledge base and increase your skill set and make yourself a better person, or you can use it to make yourself more lazy. It goes back to, there's a lot of different movies about this. There's that one, about it's a cartoon one from
Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Yes.
Wall-E, where they're all the fat people on the spaceship. And
yes. Dude,
yeah,
that's
so,
what I mean, the thing is though, historically in our, you know, in our time on this earth, what are people doing? They're picking convenience, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, we've had a lot of good times. We've had a lot of good times. And so people are conditioned to pick the easier route. And so do I think that they're going to self-govern themselves? Like, oh, I've just done too much I've just allowed, you know, the AI to do too much of my work. I think I'm going to start making myself to work. No, not only that, but our brains are changing. So like right now we have a mental health crisis. One of the reasons why we have a mental health crisis is because we no longer have empty space in our lives, meaning you are consuming all day long. We're consuming through the portal, consuming through our computer, consuming at the gas pump, consuming in the car. Like something is being inputted into us 24/7 pretty much. People fall asleep with their TVs on. They're listening to their phones. They're listening to podcasts. And here's where creativity comes from. It comes from space. It comes from you sitting in the back seat of your parents' car with no TV, with no phone. And then you guys, you know, if you're like me, you had a sister or brother, you made up a game, right? You're like, oh, you have, you know, how many cars do you have? Like, this is all the creative mind. There used to be space for the creative mind. And now the creative mind is being pushed out because it is constant input. And so there's no space. That's creating nervous system dysregulation. That's creating what I call technology-induced brain disorder. And people are labeling this as medical, you know, diagnoses. When in reality,
post-traumatic stress trauma.
Yes.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome from going to the grocery store because you got triggered.
Yes. Because there's no space to like think and just, you know, be in your body.
A great analogy of this is music, is that within music, you have sequential spaces that are in between the notes on purpose, to where if you listen to Beethoven or your favorite musician, mm-hmm. that music is clearly spaced out mm-hmm. for a reason. And there's spaces and silence in between certain notes. To where if you took all of those notes and you jumbled them all together, it would make no sense. It would be absolute nonsense. There would be no melody. There would be no rhythm.
Yeah. Jason taught my son, Mateo, how to play drums because Jason can play multiple instruments. And he said it's more important to recognize where there is space and be purposeful where you're putting space in your song, when you're writing a song, when you're playing. Those are almost more important than the notes you play. And that has always stuck with Mateo. And Mateo is an awesome drummer. And that's a lot of the times why people are so drawn to his playing is because they're like, you know, it grabs you because he's not afraid to put in breaks and to add fills and to put space in between there. The brain likes it. The brain likes it. It's like radio too. You know, when I first started doing radio, somebody gave me some advice that was like, oh, you never want dead air on radio. You never want dead air. Just
That was me.
Keep talking. Right?
That was me that said that.
I hope it was. I don't think it was.
I said, you never want dead space on the radio.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You do. You actually do. Because you know what happens when you go quiet on the radio?
It's awkward. It's so awkward.
It's awkward if you can't hold space. If you can't hold space in your own nervous system, then it's awkward. But here's what space does. What happened? What happened? What did they say? And that's good because it makes people think, oh my gosh, something important's coming. What are they going to say next? Right? That's the world we're living in is constant. And it's to the point now where people can barely absorb what you say because it's just so much. And so, you know, in our community, I'm always kind of, you know, teaching that and being like, you know, because your mind, your nervous system reflects your thoughts and your mind. If your nervous system is running hot and you feel like, man, you just could like you just feel triggered or upset by things. You even shake or you turn red or, all of those different things that happen when our nervous system's running hot. You need to slow your mind down. And it's not your fault because there's so much information coming at you. You didn't grow up this way. Now the new generation, I don't know if it's going to continue to bother them, but it's bothering our kids. Our kids are chronically diagnosed with ADD and disruptive behavior issues. Maybe it's just the fact. Maybe, when a kid's acting up, maybe it is just too much input. I'm taking that cue from a baby. When Mateo was little, he hated going into grocery stores. He hated going into different places where there was a lot of people. He used to scream and cry. And I figured out it's too much information for his little body. And so I just stopped taking him into those places for a while till he was older. And guess what? We never had any more meltdowns. Like, these are signals coming from the body. If you're running hot with your nervous system, it's too much input. You need space. Maybe you don't have to, muddle through all the old trauma and everything. Maybe you just need space. Maybe you just need space. And that's totally okay. But we don't allow for space anymore. We don't allow it. We're like, come on, hurry up, let's go. Yeah.
Game theory of the mind. I love it.
Yeah.
A few of the things. We got a few more minutes here, but I wanted to give you a minute because you are doing the Red Pill Cell Reset.
Yes.
And I want people to know about this. So why don't you go ahead and take a few minutes and talk about this a little bit?
Yeah. I wanted to invite your community to join us in the Naturally Inspired community. There's never been a better time, as we've been talking about here tonight, to take personal responsibility for your health. But the thing is you need community sometimes. It's not enough to just be like, I'm going to do this myself. It's like you need a little support. And that's what Naturally Inspired is. I help people connect to real solutions for health. So we always do a 30-minute free assessment, and we'll sit down and talk about your needs. Sometimes people need help with nutrition. Sometimes they're working on their nervous system. Sometimes they're working on heart health. Just kind of depends. Sometimes it's inflammation. And so we kind of assess where you're at, and then we get you lined up with some real solutions for health, products that are going to help sustain you. And they're just tools on your journey to optimum health. And then when you're in the community, you get access to my health text line. Excuse me. So you get to text into the health text line. I answer all your questions, all that kind of stuff. And then on Tuesday nights, we have a weekly wellness workshop. So every Tuesday night at 7:00, we have a weekly wellness workshop. And last week, or actually this week, we talked about the nervous system. We talked about PTSD and making space. So that's what you get. It's so much more than just buying products or what have you. We're trying to change the medical model here. As if you can't tell that I'm super passionate about this issue, we have to fix this because it's not going to be a good scenario for our kids. And it starts with us. We have to be models of what we want our kids to have access to and how we want them to live healthy lives as well.
I love it. I love it, guys. Red Pill Cell Reset, all one word. I'm going to go ahead and actually throw that in the chats here. www.redpillcellreset.com. It's also in the description, so you guys can find it there. But you should see those links coming in, Red Pill Cell Reset. And please go visit Tammy. And also, Tammy, why don't you give out your texting cell number so people can text you?
Yes, 720-303-8868. And the Red Pill is specifically such a great product to combat inflammation, to get started on your health journey. Because, Josh, did you know some people are carrying around 10 to 15 pounds of just inflammation? And the Red Pills are polyphenols. They're like little Pac-Men. They just...
I need some. I could freaking use that.
Yeah, they just like eat up inflammation. So imagine your cell has like a layer of puffiness around it. It's just like puffy, congestion around your cells. Polyphenols go in and they actually eat that off of the cells. They strengthen your mitochondria and they get them working better again. So it's the perfect place to start, the Red Pill. And they're red pills. So you guys are already red pilled, but you need the real red pill. Get started with your polyphenols at redpillcellreset.com.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm going to be heading out to the live Q&A. So if you want to join me there, all you have to do is be a premium subscriber on any one of our platforms, whether it's locals, whether it's X Premium, if it is Substack, redpillproject.substack.com, or social, redpill.com. Facebook, unfortunately, we don't have a premium model there. Hey, Mark Zuckerberg, you might want to start thinking about that. But in YouTube as well, that will actually be set up next week for YouTube. We'll have the ability on YouTube to have that set up as well, so you guys can get in on that premium content if you just watch that there on YouTube. So all those links will be sent out here immediately after this show is over. So I hope that you all have a great night. And Tammy, feel free to close with whatever you want there.
Yeah, just welcome everybody to the Naturally Inspired community. It's a great place to get started on your optimum health journey. And there has been no better time. Like I said it today, I actually told everybody, like, listen, I got people on my health text line right now that are coming out of heart attacks, that are coming out of dis-ease diagnosis. And I bet you if you asked any single one of them, they had wished that they would have taken steps earlier for prevention. So please don't learn the hard way. Start today. And Naturally Inspired Community is the best place to do that. So get started at the Red Pill Cell Reset.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tammy. And we'll see you next week. We'll probably actually have, I think you're on 2 times next week. I have to check with Jason, but I'm pretty sure you're on 2 times next week. And then for everybody else out there, yes, there is a show tomorrow. Yes, it will be earlier. So we have a Conversations on the Fringe. Jeff is going to be leading that one. I believe he's got Carrie Cassidy coming on. So that'll be at this time slot, which is 8:30 p.m. Eastern or 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I believe I could be corrected on that. I'll put the information on social media, but the Daily Dose will be much earlier tomorrow. So just pay attention to that for when that time frame comes out. I'm assuming about 6 o'clock Eastern time is when it's going to play. So other than that, much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We'll see you guys next time. Good night.
Good night, Red Pillars.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Voice still calls, we the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil under, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed, us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time. There was a time. Now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!